They've had, we've talked, we've covered their games in recent weeks, how admirable they have been. And as they started to wobble a little bit at one stage, there was questions asked, but just a great mix between the young and the old that they've got together, and hitting some strong form heading to September, and a home qualifying final. What a prize that would be.
It's your call when it goes up in the air. When you're
and then a year where we've been talking about the importance of a coach. We see the toss of the coin.
Thanks, guys.
Callum Mills deciding to go that way. Talking about the importance of good coaching. 12th season as coach for John Longmire, the longest ever serving Swans coach, and played finals in 10 of the 12 seasons that he's coached. He has been iconic as a coach of this club, premiership coach as well. And he would know that it's about 8 to 9 goals that they need to win by as well, which is the big second part of the equation.
Are you thinking about that as a player, Jordan Lewis?
Oh, you're not thinking about it specifically right now when the game is about to start, but certainly those thoughts either yesterday or the day before. You understand what's at stake from a results point of view. Home final, massive chance to have 2 home finals. But speaking to both coaches before the game, they were both of them were worried about the start. The start is going to be really hot, so brace yourself for that as a player. And then it's about how do you settle really quickly and then get the ball and the game on your terms. So St Kilda's an unpredictable force today because they've got nothing to lose, because they'll play with a little bit more freedom. That would be the worry if you're a Sydney Swans player.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They could be very dangerous if they make a good start. Obviously, if they don't, it could be flat and the season's over and you're thinking about the Monday. But if they make a good start, and with the emotion around Dan Hannebery, Paddy Ryder, of course, also announcing his retirement. Who knows what they could produce this afternoon. Who are you tipping, Brownie?
I'm actually tipping Sydney. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think St Kilda should have beaten Brisbane last week. The test for Sydney is they haven't played many top 8 sides in the last 2 months of football. So does their game style hold up? I think they're going well, but it should be a good clash.
Their form is impeccable, though, in the last 6 weeks. Their last loss was against Essendon, but right now they're thinking about winning at a top 4 place, a double chance at the very least. Free kick going to Tom Campbell, just his 2nd game for St Kilda. What a journeyman he's been. Tosses it high to full forward. McCartan and ex-Saint. King flicked it out wide. Wanganeen-Milera had time, and he very nearly got it all together. Had his best game for the season, perhaps against the Swans when they met earlier in the year. He misses there.
So Wilkie with Warner in the centre bounce as well.
Yeah, Wilkie to Franklin, battle to Heaney.
Kick out wide to Heaney, and Jordan Lewis is talking about barreled in the marking contest. Papley, who also started in there again for the centre bounce.
And the other third tall down there, Reid against Howard.
Wilkie's actually a good matchup for Franklin.
Yep.
Franklin not as strong in the overhead marking.
Mills, Papley slams on the boot. Franklin's going to have to go here, although Heaney got there late. Battle beat the lot of them. He looks up. He's got the short option, but he missed it completely. Cut off by Lloyd, and the Swans to take it away from half-back.
Well, there was just no spare there. It was still a one-on-one.
A little bit of confusion in the middle there, and Florent succumbing. Surely that's holding the ball. Absolutely no attempt to get rid of it. Play on was the call, though. The Saints able to maintain possession. Patton can take it wide, and they can try and get some system. Hill calling for it over the top. And Windhager heard that call. So a patient build-up. Steele plays it out wide for Sinclair, drifting forward.
One of the Carlton boys is down.
Short pass to King.
That's Tom.
High, screwing back to the square. Can you believe that? Max King, who last week could not kick a goal from directly in front, has landed one from the boundary to start this match. A week is a long time in football.
Well, does Paddy think that he landed another one?
Yeah, there's clearly something that's happened off the ball, and usually it's before the ball gets there. So a forward's doing his work early, maybe trying to block, release a teammate. We'll just see off screen there, maybe coming back towards goal. Not really clear in that picture, but the finish from King on his left foot was
Yeah, I don't think the umpire, he realised the umpire was going to call a mark, so he's decided to play on. I tell you what, that's a good way to get the monkey off your back from an inaccuracy point of view.
Now we know what he was doing wrong last week. He was kicking with his right foot.
You saw Paddy McCartan. His first concern was for Tom, not to man up King. He could have gone and manned up King and stopped that pass, but he was concerned for his brother.
You just can't stop those brother intuitions, can you?
Absolutely. We'll keep an eye out to see whether the Malachi crunch happens shortly for King.
The Malachi crunch.
He's got a McCartan either side of him at the moment. Parker tries to rake it free. Windhager does. Here's that Tom McCartan-King battle, and then Marshall comes and makes it a 2-on-1. Wanganeen-Milera on the back pedal, squeeze it towards Marshall, and he's fumbled that over the line, and it'll be a ball in.
It's going to be the challenge with St Kilda today, trying to enter their forward 50, understanding the marking prowess that particularly the two McCartan boys have in there. How do you try and find an option inside your forward 50 with trying to go around them?
Campbell with a guiding hand. Parker screws it out of there, back to the wing. Franklin had to contend with two. Howard. He was almost tackled, but he's beautiful anticipation and agility from Hickey, Heaney, and now they're charging forward. Full steam, the Swans. Warner's just trying to find it, but he gives them the necessary protection, then calls for it in the pocket. Warner eyes off Florent. Good system on the way out. The Saints defence were overcommitted, and that's the cost.
That sums up Sydney really well, Hutto. They run well off half-back. They've got beautiful kickers, and they're young midfielders who can really stream out of those situations. Chad Warner's had a fantastic season. He got ahead of the ball and then used the ball well inside 50.
Usually off half-back these days, Ollie Florent, but he was part of the charging brigade out of defence there. 5 goals, 5 for the season. That is well left and unconvincing.
That's what the Saints defenders will need to watch as well. If those really speedy high half forwards get up the ground, you still got to go and maintain goal side.
Sinclair to battle to Long. Congested on the wing. King comes down to make an option on the lead, takes it out in front and plays on to where he'd like to be. Membry's down there, couldn't get the jump at it, but that'll do. They've got a couple of options with Campbell back at the lineup. Clark spears at top of the square. Delightful ball use. And on the back pedal, the mark taken by Higgins.
That is a beautiful kick. Very difficult to perform that kick to hit a player that's running back, almost backpedaling, and there was defenders coming from both sides, so it's a fantastic kick by Clark. That's what they'll need, that sort of delivery inside 50 to match Sydney's.
Saints season over tonight. You would think they'd leave nothing in the tank. And wow, can you believe that? They blew so many chances late last week to win a game that they ended up losing. Kicked 7 behinds in a row through the last quarter last week.
Shocking kicking action. Got too close to the man on the mark, just stabbed at it.
He has bad memories of playing against the Swans too with his kicking. That 1 goal 6 he kicked at the SCG last year. So not a great start for Higgins, and they could easily be a couple of goals ahead. Stevens back to Hayward, and now Franklin. He's dangerous when he gets the ball on the wing. He drives it for Hickey. He got worked over by Howard. Zach Jones' arrival was timely. Off to battle. He's going to have his hands full with Heaney. He's done that well, though. Shoot it forward to Butler. He had to wait for Sinclair. It was worth the wait because now it's going to be a shot in the pocket from Higgins, unless he decides to pass it off.
It was a really good lead by Higgins. He just had too much speed. I think Blakey was the other one, and McCartan, but when there was so much space inside, he just took off.
So a lot less pressure on this shot than the one he's missed already. A 4th scoring shot for St Kilda at the start, and he just overdoes it a little bit.
It's a 5th inside 50 for 1 goal 3. So if you want to put it side away, especially Sydney, you've got to hit all those chances inside forward 50, and those two, the first one's relatively easy.
Blakey heads out, but straight into the arms of Campbell. Back inside 50, but he turns it over straight to Florent. Strange start to this, but so much on the end of it for the Swans. They might be a little nervy. They could finish as high as second, but as low as fifth, depending on what happens in this final game of the home and away season. Blakey slams it on the boot to Haywood, who stayed down. Hickey and Campbell went for it. The umpire to sort it out on the wing.
The Campbell will be important today. Hickey's been in fantastic form the last few weeks.
Hickey, he ran straight into Dan Hanbury. And the man in his final game, the former premiership player of the Swans, wins the free kick. Started on the bench, fresh on the ground, kicked to half forward. King flicked it up, looking for Marshall. It never arrived. Swans able to close out. Owens always buzzing around somewhere in a tight pocket for King. Plenty of obstacles in his way, but it's a really spirited start here for the Saints. That changes with Florent. Decisive play. Franklin just bullied Wilkie, who's left in his wake, but lean it came, and Buddy had only a bare cupboard ahead, but he still found a way through. Kicks to half forward. McDonald, he got worked over, maybe interfered with. Play on the call. They worked the numbers to good effect. Battle. Multiple options. You heard the play on call. Hanbury certainly did. And back to the prolific Sinclair.
I thought that was going to be back at the MCG again with Hooker chasing him there, but it looked like Bud just lost a little bit of his speed.
You're saying he's finished, Eddie?
I'm not saying he's finished. No, not at
all. You think that he doesn't think he's finished. He wants to play on next year, but he's put those contract talks on hold. Parker goes back to Rampy. He had it was virtually a 1-on-3 ahead of the ball with McDonald, the one for Sydney. That's why he didn't take off and bang it forward, Franklin. So they own possession here, but every Saints player ahead of Florent as he kicks it long. McDonald got there. Hickey stayed down, almost fell at his feet at the back. Franklin and Hickey lay the tackle and will get a ball up with a huge pack around it.
Split the ruck, long. McDonald, a walk-in goal for Rowbottom. What an important player he's become.
It's poor defence, though. They got drawn to Heaney. Heaney's the one that looks like the target player in there of those 450 stoppages. Got drawn to him and left Rowbottom, who's been in fantastic form. Close to BOG last week against Collingwood. Just got to be better accountability there at those stoppages in the back, Geordie. Well,
you get a spare, so Dan Hanbury's that spare right then, but he gets sucked into the contest. So if you're a spare, you can't get sucked into that congestion. You've got to be the gatekeeper. So for Rowbottom to get that ball, come straight out the front, direct line to goal, you're right, that's just poor defending. Structures broke down.
Thanks, guys.
#1 stoppage team in the competition the last 4 weeks, Sydney. He's been a key player for them, James Rowbottom, developing nicely as a young mid.
So the bounce, Hickey and Marshall this time. Clearance to Hanbury. Straight down the spine. Rampy kept it in front, did well. McInerney had a sneaky chance at it in game 50. Couldn't quite pick it and go. It's a little too wide for Goulden, but we'll get a ball in. Game 50 for Justin McInerney. Back in his old home state for it. Marshall and Hickey to do the ruck work. Both dance the dance. Mills slapped it down, but straight to Clark, who pretty much kicked it straight up in the air. Blakey almost missed it with his fist, and it rolls out in front of McInerney for another ball in.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of that type of play from stoppages, both sides deciding to go traditional wing spots. So coming out the front will be quite difficult through congestion, so it might be that chain handball out the back and around.
Saints by 2.
The Saints don't tend to use the corridor much. Certainly haven't in recent weeks. Been a criticism of theirs.
Gordon came away. Was able to use the left. Buddy looming large. Heaney tried to link up with McDonald, but Battle's been very attentive so far. It's a big job for him. Someone as clever as Isaac Heaney, but he's made a strong start. Long. Use a bit of width here. Lean it. Hill. Cloud over his future.
Stand. Play on. Play on.
He'll still be a Saint next year. Beautifully weighted ball for Membry. He is an ex-Swan, and so is Zach Jones. They get to half forward. Marshall posting up and didn't get boot to ball.
He's got to have the awareness there. Higgins running past.
Made an attempt, the umpires said, obviously no prior. Hanbury gets it back to Hill. Higgins is outsized, and McAneeney, the springs required.
So that was Butler. So Marshall needs to be aware. Butler was right there. Give the handball off to keep the play moving.
Papley working the back pocket to lend a hand to Mills, who on average is the #1 possession getter for the Swans this year, but they don't have anyone in the top 25 in the AFL. They're a lower possession kind of team. They spread it more. Long kick towards Hickey from Fox. Hard tackle from Clark. Battle comes up with it, gave it to Marshall, barreled, and straight back to Fox with that barrel.
Really forcing them down the line here, St Kilda, so you can just see how many numbers they've got through the middle of the ground.
Robbie Fox a really strong back half to this season. Important component of their defence now. Grilden, here's part of their attacking make-up from the wing. Sends it to Clark, delayed the give, and it was beautifully executed. And Logan McDonald couldn't help but take the mark. Much to the frustration of Brett Ratton. They're doing a lot right, but not enough.
Yeah, one defender has to go with him there, so I understand Lean it stayed off him there to go back and protect the goal square, but one of the St Kilda defenders needs to hand over and go with Logan McDonald. He's a key forward, so it's either McDonald or Franklin. You know they're going to draw the attention of the midfielders kicking the ball inside 50.
Still a young man in his second season. 14 games, 12 goals, 16 for the year. He's kicked goals in just 6 of his 14 games, but usually when he gets one, he gets a multiple, and he has one early.
Just shows how important that frontal pressure on when they've got such a dangerous forward line. When Marshall was stepped by Goulden, that just opened everything up, didn't it? Really nice play, clever, and then this is the kick from Goulden. That just opens the whole play up, and for Clark to go in, he had multiple options. So what I loved about the Sydney forward line, all the forwards were moving, so really engaging the St Kilda defence. And he just held it that 1-2 second extra, and the obvious option opened up late. But that's a step there. Marshall has to be better. He just has to stay in front, force Goulden to kick over fingers. The St Kilda defence just got turned around.
Reid into the centre square for the ruck for the Swans. Marshall against him. Both got a little piece of it. Reid, the second effort was good, and he throws it out to Mills, but the umpire had already called ball up. Flung in the air this time. 2 ruckmen tie up. Steele got his hands free to Jones. Tumbles it inside 50. The chaos ball might work. King feeds back onto it. Got the lucky bounce, and it might be his lucky day. He's got 2.
Well done. Good start by St Kilda out of centre bounce. Louis, 3 centre bounce wins there. Well done to King as well. So he's been able to kick the unconventional goals. Hasn't had the set shot yet. He's had the left foot snap and the one over the top. This has been very good. So Sydney have been fantastic the last 6 weeks with their contest work, but today St Kilda have won that battle so far in the clearances, especially the centre bounce clearances. The ruckmen are good. I think Marshall and Campbell have both been good so far against Hickey, who's in form.
Yeah, I think that quick kick out of stoppages is really opening play up. There's a lot of numbers, so both sides wanting to bring numbers up towards the stoppage. So if you can clear that congestion, both sides look like they've got really open forward lines.
That's 49 goals for the season for Max King. So for all his goal-kicking issues, it's still an excellent return for a young man. Ball squirts out to the wing. Stevens leads the pursuit. Hill not far away. A couple of clever steps. Enabled that pass to Papley. Chest puffed out, but didn't take the mark. Lean it. Committed, so too Rowbottom. Saints looked like they were about to prevail, but Rowbottom didn't give up. He goes again. Owen's an important hand in, and then Sinclair, who's being watched closely by Clark, gets the ball along the line, and it's over and out.
Patting a big job on Papley today. That'll be one to watch in the forward half. Wilkie's got Franklin, but yeah, that's a key one. Obviously Papley's a man can get a hold of the opposition.
And Owens is against McCartan. He's trying to get him up the ground at the moment, but the hands chained up brilliantly for the Swans. Lloyd got it from Goulden, tried to craft the kick for Hayward, and he takes the mark. Franklin wants it closer to goal, but there's a risk involved in that. And so Hayward looks like he'll settle.
Yeah, he's got the distance, so... I mean, it was a risky kick to go across the face of goal to an option that was nearly a one-on-one in the open side. But the chain of handballs outside that stoppage was elite.
Experienced player now, game 111. He's kicked exactly 1 goal in each of his last 9 games, except for that's against Adelaide when he kicked 3. So he's on the board each and every week, and he is this afternoon.
So it was a really good play from a contested situation, and then to be able to chain out. So this handball chain here, really clean, allowed them to get access to that corridor, and that's as a defender, when the ball comes out through that part of the ground, it's really hard to choose who to defend, who becomes dangerous. Really sharp handballs, and then to a ball user coming through the middle of the ground. And to be honest, St Kilda did a good job defending the dangerous spaces, but the kick was just too good to Hayward on the open side.
That's exactly what you were talking about before, though, Jordan, isn't it? Using those hands to get out of the clearance.
Yeah, really sharp, and as much as they can, St Kilda, you've got to force them skinny, so keep the congestion, give yourself a chance to defend.
Reid facing Campbell this time. Campbell got a piece of it. Steele between his legs. Parker through the Ivan Needle, somehow to Clark, to McInerney, delayed it to Rowbottom. Stepped his way back. McInerney, poke pass to Parker. Travel the required. Has he got this kick in him? He doesn't think so. Heads to Warner. Lean it. Killed it with a fist. Didn't quite get it across the line, though. Heaney trying to be clever. Knew he had a little bit of help there, but Lloyd couldn't break away with it. And a little bit of byplay between a couple of old teammates.
And that's really the difference. If you go across the face of goal and you can defend that.
Isaiah Keaney didn't seem too impressed with Zach Jones's antics.
St.Kilda.
I thought it was all a great lark.
Shoulder. Stand.
Things have changed in the other game at the MCG, which obviously affects the Sydney Swans and whether they need to win or not for the double chance. Their minds on the action here at Marvel Stadium, though. Mills guides it to Reid. He's got Papley loose. The Saints, though, well aware of that. Reid goes longer and more ambitious with the kick pattern. Held off Papley. Was it legal? Papley. Sustained tackling pressure prevails.
Yeah, good follow-up. It was a good contest, a one-on-one contest. Patton just probably dropped the mark. But then for Papley to follow up and tackle, cause a holding the ball decision.
Good for 2 goals a game of late, Tom Papley. Just pops it up. Howard came with the fist. The danger is still apparent. Clark just tries to neutralise.
There's the opportunity for St Kilda's defenders now to get on the same page. Remember, they scored an easy forward 50 stoppage goal 10 minutes ago.
Franklin, Parker, Heaney, they're on in the vicinity. Owens found some room with it. Wasn't a lot. Got a kick away, but Swans had the wall set up. Jones about to break through the wall. If he can pluck it and go. Had to knock it down. Higgins lends a hand. Slick handball back. Patton doesn't have a lot forward that he wants.
You know, they had to find a way to keep going forward, keep that momentum.
Leonard, inside kick to King, superb. He had Windhager running for him, he ignored that. And plants his foot into it. Membry's forward, can't take the mark. Blakey, brilliant. Lloyd, Goulden. Often their best ball user, delayed it too long there. Jones, inside kick, thumped away. Tom McCartan, body on the line. McInerney, who started all this with his fist, gets it back from Clark and finds McDonald, and they can breathe a sigh of relief, the Swans.
Gee, they've blown a few opportunities, haven't they, St Kilda? That was another one.
It's a great kick by Leonard, Hutto.
Wasn't it? To the middle, and by King initially, too, to use the man of the mark rule really successfully, but...
It's good. It shows their attitude coming in. I think they want to attack a bit more through the corridor. It's 50.
Well, they get 50 now. The pressure on Goulden's kick coming out was also good. Knew he was left-sided, so it does show they're well tuned in, doesn't it? John doesn't look happy. Mind you, if there are 5 goals up, he doesn't generally look a happy horse. So Ben Long from range. Multiple offerings deep from King. Checks the clock. Time is now. Put the Saints back in front. Look good. For the moment it left the boot. But he is leading the possessions on the ground with 8 touches in this opening quarter.
They've been good, St Kilda. Good attitude defensively. They've been able to lock Sydney in their front half. 13-8, the inside 50s in the way of St Kilda. But I've been impressed with their ball movement, Louis. They've been a bit more attacking, willing to go back in to the corridor and go for those attacking 45 kicks and, you know, be able to score and give their forwards some opportunity. And well done with the conversion, which has been an issue for St Kilda as well.
Well, it breaks up the play, doesn't it? And that's the hardest thing as a player to understand. You're coming up against a top 4 side. They're really good defensively. They set themselves really good defensively down the line in terms of the 2 McCartan boys and everyone around them. So the only way to really get through is to take a little bit of a risk at some stage throughout the ball movement.
Change up in the middle continues. Hickey against Campbell. Papley tries to break away, was caught. Owens gets on the end of that after minding Warner at the ball up. Blakey and Higgins combined to see it out.
I just saw Bud come off and had a quick conversation to the doctor. Just heading down to the rooms. He ran off okay, so I don't think it's anything sort of lower limb.
4 minutes to go. Very tight opening quarter. And the Saints. So Campbell off to Hanbury. Heads up into the 50. Membry came late. The juggling act was from Blakey. Paddy McCartan, the former Saint, into the middle. Papley holds. And then takes it out to Lloyd. He's got an option further on this side of the ground, which he chooses, and that's Hayward. McDonald looks to demand it down the ground. He and Reid are the 2 tall targets in Buddy's absence. So Hayward. Further away is Rampy. Let's see how the St Kilda defence adjusts to the slow play. Rampy kept quite an aggressive line. McDonald worked his way to the front. Howard had it covered. Sinclair. Again, the Swans have the resources and the know-how. Lloyd for Stevens. Probing ball for Reid, but falling back into the whole battle. Didn't finish it. Heaney was careful. He took possession. Battle. A man inspired.
Been terrific today, Hutto. Come back into the team. It's a good player.
Kick not so good though.
No.
Put Patton under immense pressure. Parker wrapped up by Hanbury and stripped. Heaney to Hayward, and that wobbles its way through for a behind.
I feel that battle kick though shows their mindset.
Yep.
Their attacking mindset. They're willing to pull the trigger on those 50-50 kicks St Kilda so far in this first quarter. And Battle's got the job on Heaney.
A grubber from Hill made it life much more difficult for Wanganeen-Milera. He had to turn tackler on Warner and was only partially successful. The ball ends up going out.
Yeah, Windhager's got the job on Warner. Doing a really good job so far. Warner only the 3 disposals. You obviously see him as the #1 ball getter or most dangerous player around the ball.
What a player he's become in such a short period of time. Parker hustles his way through. Heaney or Papley, McDonald, they all had claims. Heaney stayed down. He was the one who got the shot away, although didn't get as much as the footy as he would have liked. The reliable Wilkie.
That's where Battle needs to be careful. Traditional marking play. You know, Heaney's got the smarts to stay down.
Clark with the inside kick to Higgins.
Stand.
The Carlton-Collingwood result, huge for Sydney, huge for football in general. And this result, huge for Sydney, obviously. Anywhere between 2nd and 5th, they can finish depending on the result of this. And the other game still to be completed. That's the live ladder as it stands right now.
Yeah, guys, Big Bud's just run back up on the bench. It looks okay. I think it was just a toilet break.
Carlton by 10 points, we're told, at the moment. So they're inside the 8. And obviously still got a bit of work to do in that one against Collingwood, as the Swans have here. against the Saints. That live ladder with St Kilda in front right now and the Swans behind. Windhager, Hanbury, handball smothered. Warner plucked it, kick smothered. Back to Clark. Wobbles at top of the square. Paddy McCartan got there, almost a turnover. Blakey can take it through for a behind. He elected not to, and there's that, a free kick for insufficient intent. He tried to knock it through for a behind, but because it hit the behind post, he's gone for insufficient intent, because there's two different rules depending on where it goes.
He doesn't know the rules, Don.
I think he said he was trying to hand pass it to a teammate.
Right. And across the face anyway. Footy God's having some fun with this game at the moment. Stevens rolled in the tackle. Free kick holding the ball.
The pressure's been good inside the forward 50, not allowing Sydney to come off and intercept mark, which is making it a messy type of game inside the forward 50.
Tell you what, if I was a St Kilda player, I might have taken my full 30, because I reckon Nick Blakey may have given away a 50-metre penalty. He wanted to certainly argue with the umpire.
So you're right, Jordy. I think that was what he was arguing.
Yeah.
Which you're not allowed to argue, of course. Campbell never kicked a goal for the Saints. Across the face. And, well, that was still considered to be in a marking contest with the ball off hands in the air, so you're allowed to slap it out if you're rampy in that situation there.
To be fair to Tom Campbell, it's only his second game for the Saints.
True. Yeah.
Marshall starting forward today with Campbell in the ruck. Hanbury, Hill used his wheels to go backwards. Wanganeen-Milera used his to kick it out on the floor.
It's been a good first quarter, though. It
has, yeah.
St Kilda's ball movement's been impressive. Their work around the contest has certainly been impressive as well. +6 in the clearances.
Blakey. Conservative route out of there. Reid made a contest. Clark underneath. And in a flash, they're gone. Hand pass from Hayward. Warner can run and kick long to the square. Papley wasn't required. What a gun.
What a goal. He's so exciting. I know we talk about Nick Dacos a lot this year, but this guy has been sensational. His impact on the Sydney Swans as a younger midfield has been profound. One of the best in the competition, one of the real up-and-coming young stars. That's as good a goal as you'll see. How difficult that is to do as a midfielder, Louis. Not sure how many times you were in that situation, storming out of a stoppage, but I can imagine it'd be tough to do.
Not one. but I think the difficult thing watching that is usually players need 1-2 step to really steady themselves. He was at full pace the whole time, and you could just see when he looked behind himself and saw Steele, he goes, all right, I need to turn the afterburners on here. Fantastic finish.
Good way to break a tag.
So, seconds remaining. Bounce in the middle. Time enough for something crazy in what's been a crazy kind of quarter. Hickey's kick smothered. Row bottom gets away. Gave it to Hickey. Siren sounds. The final game of the home and away season. Game 198 of 198. And this whole season is going to go down to the wire. The Swans could finish anywhere from 2nd to 5th. At a quarter time, they lead by 5 points.
What a star this man is, Jordan Lewis. Just the impact of those. If you can have a midfield can storm out the front of a stoppage, almost like Chris Judd in his heyday, storm out the front, it just opens the forward 50 up to kick the ball into for the forwards.
You're right, and it's really good to watch. It was certainly a pattern in that first quarter where they were leaving too much space for those midfielders to run into and use the ball. They just got too much pace further up the ground.
Couple of toms in the ruck to start the second term.
Play on.
Hickey over Campbell. Parker. Steele. Footy's in there somewhere.
Thanks, Luke.
Bodies entwined.
Thanks, mate.
Once again, a lot of congestion. Both sides bringing two high half forwards up.
Play on.
Gordon waiting on the outside, but it doesn't go the Swans' way. It's Ross tumbling inside. Marshall trying to trap it with his feet. Butler also didn't try and take possession. McCartan, Owens. The bounce of the ball favoured him and utilised it pretty well. Butler thought he could get past Rampy. He failed, and Rampy politely asked the question about whether he deserved a free kick for that.
Tom.
The answer was no. Tom McCartan watching Max King. Campbell Parker. Rampy heaves it back out to the wing.
Holding the man, St.Kilda.
Free kick going Wilkie's way.
Stand. Play on. Mine.
Back to Battle. Now lean it. Hills covering some territory at half forward. Made a decisive offering. It took a good kick, which Lean is well and truly capable of. Now King on the move. Comes out of the pocket. Membry, though, stood up. Had first hands on it. Still able to trap it. It's not quite coming back. In fact, it's getting further away and stayed in the field of play enough for Hickey to touch it, Goulden to swoop, and it turns into a Sydney attacking move, but it's going to be downfield. No, not downfield. There's no advantage, so it's coming back.
Gee, that was a good run by Brad Hill, wasn't it? You called it, Hutto. He came from the other side of the ground, just that bust to get to the open side.
Rowbottom pulls the kick in the Reed direction, used his body. Go away with it. It was legal.
Been in good form recently, Dwayne.
Battle of strength. Inside kick to Lloyd. Had to turn around and try and find where it was. Wanganeen-Milera came up with it. Gave it to Membry. Floats it to King in the pocket. And he can line up for his third. But this, his first set shot.
Or does he go with the left?
Dane back 3 metres.
Like he did in the first quarter.
It's important for St Kilda. Need to get some more forward half turnovers. Go back quickly to the Sydney defence.
Got to hook it around. Hit the belly of the ball. It stays in play. And slapped toward the behind line. And that won't count against him. 0-5 he kicked last week. He's got 2 straight still this afternoon.
Lloyd. Decisive, but Mills is a reasonable target and beautifully executed.
It was well done there because Hickey ran to the inside, so Marshall wasn't sure which way to go. Just bought Mills enough time to take the mark.
Mills kept on running. Back from Rowbottom, thumped at the half forward. Hayward had the best vantage of what was coming in, and he takes the mark. Papley buzzing. Reed also made an offering. Hickey backing back. And amongst all of that, drifting in from the side was Goulden.
Yeah, so Hickey doesn't touch it, but he causes a collision, which then gives Goulden the chance to mark the ball over the back.
17 goals, 6 for the season from Errol Goulden. Embodies exactly what the Swans have become this year. Dangerous, beautiful kick. Young, enthusiastic. And learning quickly from their experienced players to extend the lead to 10.
All clear.
Spot on. Hickey just played such an integral role in that whole play. But yet he didn't touch the ball, Louis. So he caused some confusion amongst Rowan Marshall. He didn't know whether to go with Mills or not. Mills was able to take an uncontested mark from that kick in. Then he's able to transition it to Hayward. That's a good contested mark. But then they're able to go inside 50 to even numbers. And then Hickey just causes confusion there, almost an obstruction to Dougal Howard.
Yeah, it was good ball movement, wasn't it? St Kilda just couldn't get any delay on it to allow everyone to roll back and help defend. This is where they need to be careful. They just don't want the lead to blow out too much. They need to maintain contact with the lead.
Campbell and Hickey, neither got a touch on it in the end. Owens comes up with the clearance, rolls it towards Hill, knocked away from him. Goulden, who just kicked the goal, gets back. Papley with him, feeds the handball out. Sinclair off and running at full steam. Puts the hammer down, has a bounce, hits the King in the pocket, free kick. So he's had a set shot from the other pocket. And he's blasted it across the face. This is a tough shot for anyone, let alone someone who's got some demons playing some games with him. What's he thinking here? Not sure he's made his mind up yet. Okay, the hook kick. Bends it around for number 3. Got it by a millimetre.
Sinclair's been important, Louis. He's getting tagged by Clark. Clark's done some fantastic jobs, including on Nick Dacos last week. But Sinclair's able to have an impact on the game. 9 disposals, 8 kicks, going at 75%.
Yeah, just that aggressive half-back, wasn't it? It was a really good kick. It put McCartan under pressure, so he had to grab King because King had front position. King didn't get great contact on that ball, so just barely got over the line with Hickey being there.
More than a millimetre, really, in the end. Got it there by a good metre. That's goal number 50 for the season for Max King.
On the ball. Clean in. Wait, just kill it here.
It's going to be hard to stop now. Big key forward, up and about. Just need to give him the supply, the St Kilda mids. Sinclair just storming off half back, and just see the shot there. So Clark trying to get to Sinclair. It has been all day, but Sinclair is able to break the shackles.
Steele out of the middle. Here comes Sinclair. Whacked it forward. Windhager had a couple of options. He went for the longest and the most difficult, and that allowed Fox to come in and interfere. He ran that interference well. Now Blakey, that's not 15. Not 15. That's a good call. Stevens had to react, and he was good enough. To the wing. Saints well placed to intercept Mark here. Warner made it difficult for them. That's barely a legal disposal. That could be in the back.
Pushing it back.
Yes. To add to the frustration of the Saints fans there.
Back here.
Against Dan Butler.
This is where St Kilda need to reset quickly beyond the ball.
Fox charging forward.
Play on. Play on.
Wilkie. Warner has him covered.
Mine.
Jeez, Papley just got floored by Bud.
Brooks.
He's got up, so he looks okay.
Hickey to the outside. Jones, swing and a miss. Rowbottom won the head-to-head battle with Hanbury. Sinclair, though, can steady to the Saints. So Higgins has worked right up the ground. Marshall and also Steele doing the hard stuff to give him the way forward.
Tom McCartan holds him up for a second, but he plays on now. Rampy got there with a double fist. Thumped it to the line. They can reset.
He's so clean, Sinclair, as well, below his knees. One touch. He's clearly got the power and the explosiveness to get out of congestion, but just clean below his knees.
Look at the jobs Clark's done on, really, as a defensive forward. Did some fantastic jobs. Good running defenders there. He's been able to nullify their importance or their influence on games. But today, Jack Sinclair has been very important for St Kilda, his direct opponent.
Campbell's second effort, high.
High tackle, pick up the ball. Come back on.
See if he launches that big leg through this.
Yep.
Well, he signals he wants to have a shot.
Time's on.
Whether he's just trying to bluff the Sydney defenders and hopefully they fall asleep.
15 gone.
30 goals, 28 career, yet to kick one for the Saints. This is just game 2. He pulls the kick short. Marshall in the pocket. Through hand, skips to the back. Stevens, well, he kept it alive initially. And then with some help from Higgins, content to see it out.
We got Tom. Yep.
Coming up to the 10-minute mark of the second term. Campbell in front. Rowbottom. Just got a boot to it, barely. Fox identified Papley, who thought there was contact coming. It wasn't. He was good enough to mark. Instant switch. You like the look of the setup on that side of the ground. Stevens out wide for Goulden. Can punch it forward off the left boot. Winds up and gives it plenty. The height is there. Lean it across to McDonald. Sinclair. Clark wasn't far away, but so adept and got it forward to Battle, whose kicking hasn't been his strong suit today. Gave Hunter Clark no chance. Goulden fielding offers through the middle. Fox able to give it off to Rampy. He's got the touch on the kick. And Papley, ever dangerous, takes the mark.
They're outstanding on turnover, Hutto, especially in that front half. Just their ability to turn the ball over and then go straight back at you. They transition the ball back into the centre of the ground. Then, obviously, they're finding the free forward in Papley. It's very difficult to defend that when the side's able to move it back into the corridor.
Averaging 15 disposals a game. It's just 2 more than last year. Spent way more time in the middle this year. Slightly less with his goal average, down from 1.8 to 1.6. But very much reliable. And he kicks beautifully here. And the Swans just seem to have the edge. Carlton are doing them plenty of favours at the MCG, so they may not need the 4 points, but after that, of course, it becomes a target of trying to get top 2 if that's the way it stays.
This part of the game, Louis, the last few weeks, they've been able to improve even further their transition. So second in the competition over the last 6 weeks, just being able to turn that ball over in the front half and go straight back at you and score.
I thought St Kilda initially did a good job when they started to transition out of their defensive 50. St Kilda held them up, but it was on that repeat entry, and you're right. That kick from Goulden to come back inside, open up the other part of the inside 50, gave Packley some space to work.
From the restart, Hickey, Marshall, Hanbury the clearance. It's a wobbler, tough one to grab. Fox did a good job of trying to. Blakey did a beautiful job of crumbing it to Florent. Straight through the hands of Goulden, though. A little too slick for him, and it didn't stay in play for long. So there's the live ladder. Carlton beating Collingwood. If Collingwood lose to Carlton, then the Swans will finish top 4 with a win, but they'll finish top 4 regardless of whether they win or lose. Just depends on how much they win by, whether they can grab second spot on the ladder. Hill runs through the traffic, feeds it out wide. Tough ball for Butler. Knew the heat was coming. Stevens tried to handball through the eye of a needle. Hanbury got it from Wanganeen-Milera to Hill. Wanganeen-Milera on the back pedal. Sold it. He shook Parker out of his shoes, but then turned it over with the kick straight to Blakey.
So they're lining up on the open side for the switch.
They look quite concerned whether to take that kick or not. Driving down the city wing instead, and the Saints had plenty of height there. Battle didn't finish it. Marshall agile enough. Patton, tough bounce for Wanganeen-Milera, muscling his way in on the act was Reid. High ball from Parker. In front is Franklin, had 2 to contend with. Patton had issues immediately, good enough to work his way through with help from Ross, and then lean it, who steadies and tempers the kick nicely for Owens, getting up to half-back to take the mark. Wanted to move it swiftly. Patton gave him a way out, trying to get it through the middle of the ground. We know Leonard can kick it a long way. Preferred the handball this time. A fumble, and it could be a critical one. Mills through Heaney. Franklin, we've seen that before. Don't often see that. McDonald, 35 out, puts it through. The old to the young. It's all team first up for the Swans. Franklin played the part he needed to, and now it's a 16-point margin, remembering that they have to win by somewhere between 50 and 60 points, depending on how many points are scored in the game to take that coveted second position.
Yeah, St Kilda still trying to come through the middle of the ground, and it was just a poor handball to Ross. The handball was behind, so he had to come back, eventually fumbled it. So that's the thing, that's their attitude. They want to come in through the middle of the ground, but if you make a small mistake, this side's set up so well to try and get front half turnovers, and they'll make you punish.
Biggest margin of the game to either team. Back in the middle. Marshall stands under it. Hickey got there, but knocked it to Ross. Got a kick away. Tough one for Windhager. Couldn't complete the half volley. And from the scramble, McInerney. Tap was good to McDonald. Warner, McInerney, Lloyd. Time to set it up with an inside kick. Heads toward Heaney. Brushed out of it. Ball falls to the back. Reid on his lonesome. He confused himself. He had too many options and got dizzy with the spin.
Everyone had left him. Yeah, that was a really bad miss when you look at it. McInerney was flying down the outside as well, but well within his rights to have a shot at goal. Just hit the wrong part of the ball.
Leonard gives it plenty. Back to the middle. Marshall. Hickey. Once a Saint. Heaney. McDonald. Hill versus Warner, who was stronger in the air, but feeling the after effects as he crashed into the turf. Hill. Not the best kick. It made Clark a sitting duck. Then he's dragged it back under, so he's in trouble now, is he? No, the ball got out. Ross, he tried to wrench it clear. Reed copped it, but got through ultimately. Florence kick, battle. Oh, again, he doesn't take the mark, and he's going to pay the ultimate penalty. Heaney pounces, and the Swans are galloping away now.
Yeah, great example of what Sydney do well. They sweat on the opposition. If you make a mistake, they punish you. They're just so good at being able to obviously pressure up the opposition. If they can create the turnover, whether that be from a disposal or broken play through that centre of the ground, then they can extricate the ball from a
but it shows, I suppose, from a St Kilda point of view, if you don't execute the basics well in terms of handballing, kicking. We saw the handball to Ross go behind. We saw the kick from Badley Hill to hit the ground. That's a 20-metre kick. So if you don't execute the basics in our game, and then Sydney get the opportunity, 1-2 handball, inside forward 50, create a contest, that's where the game is.
Yeah. They get out of the congested space, that's what I was trying to say. And they do it really well. They handball well and they kick the ball well inside 50.
3 goals in a row now for the Swans. 5 of the last 6. Lloyd kept it in front of the half volley attempt. Mills, Blakey, they've found another gear, the Swans.
Yeah, it seems like that, doesn't it? They're running on top of the ground.
Hayward floats it over the top. That'll work. Lloyd back pedals.
Really running well now, the Swans.
They need to win by a margin to grab second spot. The handoff. McInerney short. Doesn't want to waste it. Mills. Centering kick. Out in front of Franklin. Heaney from 3 deep. Goulden the crumb. Feeds the handball out wide. Stevens. The dance step on Wanganeen-Milera didn't confuse him. Goulden with the half volley. Great smother. Knocked away by Membry. Back into the congestion. Tom McCartan comes down the lender hand. Rowbottom somehow. McInerney lost it. Sinclair had it, lost it. Got it back. Gave it to Long. Open space ahead for the Saints. Swans getting numbers back. Race on. Lloyd. Butler. Ugly bounce. Beautiful bounce for Butler. His little sidestep was good. Heads out wide. Membry. He's got King. He's got confidence. And the dance move to Membry. To Owens. Overcooked it. Rowbottom. He heads wide to Goulden. And the Swans dodge a huge bullet.
They did so much right, from the defensive pressure inside their defensive 50, then to be able to transition the ball. Sinclair once again was huge. Just that last kick let them down.
Goulden put length on it. Campbell, awkward ball for a big man. Owens running away from goal so they can get set up. Ross plays it back through the middle. Patton, no one really around him. Spotted Jones. They keep on running. Could have gone right or left. He went left to Steele. Back to Owens. It's a bit stunted, this. Hanbury. And not on the same.
Just making mistakes in the critical time, St Kilda, whether it be a handball or a kick, it's just upsetting their flow of play. Whereas Sydney, when they move the ball, they're just so crisp by hand, by foot. They're kicking the ball at 70%, Sydney, which is a very high number, and they're not missing any handballs whatsoever.
Reed rucking against Campbell. He took it out and handed it off to Jones. Step back inside. Goulden wasn't expecting that. Hanbury whacks away and continues on its own journey across the face. Max King with 3 goals. 7 minutes remaining. Saints have dominated at the clearance, as you can see. Campbell throwing his weight around. Butler, unlikely with that method.
Play on.
Lloyd just scraped out a handball. Rowbottom, Blakey, no time to look where it was going to land. In front, Howard, McDonald. The insurance was Wilkie, and there's even more behind all of that in battle. Thumps it forward. They're outnumbered here, and that tells as Heaney getting back to lend a hand, successfully marked, and uses McInerney. There was danger in that kick, but Hayward strong enough.
Hands it off. Blakey on the run. Heaney. Second possession in this string of play. Puts it out in front of Clark. Wanganeen-Milera got there first. He's got Wilkie to lend a hand. Still trouble. Battle. Across his defensive goal. Kidd needs to be good. It is. Jones. Really had to motor to get there.
This is where the execution has to be good. They need to improve this part of the game. They're running hard, still trying hard, St Kilda. The difference between the two teams at the moment is purely execution.
Jones! He faked Reid and didn't get away with it. Reid read his mind. Great read by Reid, but he couldn't come up with the steal to have a shot. Ball up.
Great read by Reid. I love that pipe. On fire. Their pressure's fantastic, Sydney. That's a great example again.
Another ruckman got the tap down. Didn't fuss to Reid though. Road bottom. Sends it deep. And his courage from long. His eyes quickly turned to the outer half-back flank. Higgins. Membry working overtime up ahead of the play. And all that hard running. He didn't get the service he was after. Pretty simple job for McCartan. Frustration for Tim Membry and for the Saints fans. So this lead has got to 23 points. Swans on target in terms of getting that top two if they can keep this going through the match. They're gaining on Melbourne's percentage. Tom Campbell pats it down. Mills, Warner. That's where it comes to an end. Wanganeen-Milera, Windhager, Steele collaborate nicely. King not in a position to take the mark. Ross. Wanganeen-Milera tried to turn and use the boundary line. The umpire though said no.
He had a split second where he possibly could have got it to his boot, and that was deemed prior opportunity.
Play on.
Row bottom to half forward. Franklin tied up by Wilkie. Long to Patton to Wanganeen-Milera. King still located out in the wing. Long, long way from home. Pats it back through the middle to Patton. He's got Zach Jones if he really wants to take on an aggressive option. He doesn't. Go short to Steele instead. Marshall's gone back to the goal square. He wants it one-on-one. He's got a mismatch down there with Lloyd. Now they've got company. Reid, by the time the ball got there, the mismatch was the other one.
It was a really smart play by Reid to get back, understand the mismatch that was happening further behind him. He read the ball really quickly in the air.
Fumble. Won't be able to mop his mess up. Mills. Kick smothered by Steele. Still a chance for Fox. Stevens there as well. You can see the difference. What a difference second and third can make as well. You can see with that live ladder as Reid shows his strength. Sydney would host Melbourne at the SCG in their first final if they finish second and Melbourne third. Vice versa, Melbourne to host Sydney at the MCG first final if they don't. What a difference. Wilkie, Franklin. Franklin almost pulled that down. Heaney had Goulden on offer and hunted down by Sinclair. High.
Oh, reversed
Free kick, Heaney.
Oh, he ran 100 metres to complete the tackle.
Painful to watch for the Saints fans. But the Swans overdo it, legging it out of their pattern. Took on a fair bit, made life difficult for Windhager. Swans had numbers constructed on the spot, really, by Robert. Long, desperate lunge and a handball. Reinforcements were there. Wilkie and then Battle. Settled. And looking for Steele. He was not well placed to take the mark as it turned out. Mills. Try marking that. One-on-one. Battle.
Yeah,
has given up the free.
Had to be.
Buddy.
I mean, Wilkie's done a good job on Bud. But countless times the ball goes to him. Wilkie's got his arms wrapped around Bud, just not...
He waits for no one, not even one of his great mates, Jordan Lewis, to finish the special comments and kicks a special goal. Number 49 for the season for Bud.
At Dairy. This is the Sinclair tackle on Heaney. Really well performed. It's just the aftermath where he got the one reverse. So it's, I mean, not much in it. But then it was a quick kick inside forward 50. I know, why do it? You're right. So this was the change in matchup for Franklin. He got Battle. He's had Wilkie all day. You can only imagine he might have had a quiet word to the umpire to say they're holding me and one gets paid.
It's climbing up the Sydney Swans. Goals kicked ladder as well. It's gone past Tony Lockett, joins Adam Goods. 464. That's his goals per season at Sydney. The breakaway from the middle. King got rid of his man, feeds back onto it. In the meantime, might have kicked the best goal of his year. He's on fire. He's got 4.
Well, it was good body work. I mean, really good clearance first and foremost. So St Kilda have done really well in the clearances, plus 11. So they're on top in that part of the game. Good lead, really stretched Rampy. And then it was just that last little push to create some space. Didn't necessarily want to gather the ball on the first opportunity. But if he got rid of Rampy, in which he did, and that was a beautiful finish, you're right, Pipe. Centre bounce are an issue for Sydney, 11-1 in favour of St Kilda out of the centre bounce. So they need to get that part of their game right.
Eddie, you got an update from downstairs. It's not great for the Swans.
No, it's not great for the Swans, guys. Papley's been subbed out with concussion. So Sam Wicks will get his run.
OK, so Sam Wicks on as the medical sub. Obviously, there is a week off for the men. The women, FOW, gets underway, of course, next week. So plenty of footy action, but it does allow that extra time for Tom Papley to recover. Follow those concussion protocols.
St Kilda, stand.
Saints fans think that was well overdue. Hanbury, possession 15 coming up in his final game. Swans premiership player.
Stand.
As John Longmire himself mentioned, the youngest Swan to reach 200 games.
Play on.
Unfortunately, hasn't played that many more. Certainly not enough at St Kilda. They've turned it over. Hickey to the outer side. McDonald. Buddy's ahead. One-on-one with Wilkie. Surely he just kicks it down the line to Bud.
Play on. Play on.
Trying to play the percentages instead. Late in the quarter. Stevens. McInerney. It was a thoroughfare for him. Didn't take it. Now it's still there. The invitation remained open. Long. Reed. Franklin's hands on it first, but Long paid the mark.
Outside 5.
And happy to play it back to the goal square to see if there is a way out of there. A long way home. Can they do it in the 60-odd seconds remaining?
Is there a Thursday night final, first week of the finals, Anthony?
Well, we don't know for sure. You'd imagine so. Is it 12 days from today, Dwayne?
Wow. It could be a factor. In the meantime, Hanbury plays on, heads toward King. He takes the grab, hands it off. Owens heads goal square, post. So percentage has got to be huge for Sydney in this second half. It's got to be a factor as to whether they get the home final or not and when their scheduled final will be.
Yeah, so 12 days is the Friday.
Wow.
So
the misfortune of playing on the Sunday in the final round.
Well, yes, exactly. Cats had it with Kolodjasny last night. Last 30 seconds. Lloyd sends it high to the wing. Reed, Hickey. Patton prevailed. He wasn't paid the mark. A last gasp here for the Saints. At the front. Florent to Blakey. What's the intent of McDonald? No. Pats his hands down. Happy to see out the half. With a 22-point lead. Seemingly in control. And soon they'll have eyes on second spot if they can keep that going. But they are without Tom Papley. Let's have a look at what happened early on, which means that Tom Papley had to be subbed out. Ooh. He's got his great mate to thank for that. Sorry, says Bud. Let's head down to Eddie Betts, who's got one of the Swan stars alongside him. Ed.
Yeah, guys, I've got Luke Parker here. Luke, it was a grind in the first quarter, but you boys looked like you got on top in the second half.
Yeah, a little bit. We probably played to their game. We were a little bit up-tempo. We knew they were going to take the game on through the middle and probably went to quicker times.
And what would be the message to the boys to keep this momentum going in that second half?
I think we just got to run and use our legs. You know, our game plan starts with defence, and we get that transition right. Hopefully we'll run on top of them.
Good luck for the second half, mate. Take it easy.
It is the Sydney Swans by 22 points at Marvel Stadium, a game with huge implications for the makeup of September. Stick around. Jonathan Brown and Eddie Betts will dissect the first half after this short. Well, this is the 198th and final home and away game of the season, and it all comes down to this. The live ladder has the Sydney Swans currently in third position and playing the Melbourne Football Club at the MCG. But as we've just seen at the MCG, it ain't over till it's over. Dwayne Russell.
Yes, Sarah, Sydney lose this game, they'll drop to 5th as well. So that's what's on the line for Sydney. They can finish as high as 2nd if they win by enough, which is that 8-9 goal margin, or if they had to lose this game, they can drop to 5th, which would be massive as a change-up heading into the finals.
As it stands, it's a 22-point margin. Hickey and Campbell continue their duel in the middle of the Marvel Stadium. Parker. Franklin trying to work his way out of the footy. Wilkie put a halt to that. Oh, that's high.
High, Sydney.
Wicks in the act. He's going to get an early shot for goal.
A little bit unfortunate to Howard, but Wicks just came in with so much velocity and really good attack on the ball.
Yeah, well, it wasn't much Howard could do, but unfortunately because he was moving, he didn't really have a case, did he? So Sam Wicks, in the absence of Tom Papley, to extend the lead to 28 points, or not. Out on the full. Reid suggesting he got a bit of unfair treatment. Hunter Clark's done for the day. So Dean Kent, at his 100th and final AFL game, is going to see action in the second half. The former Demon and Saint. Tom Hickey has the footy.
And heads short. There's Kent on the mark, so getting a run on his final game. And Fox on the run, heads to the pocket, and almost the mark to Clark. Couldn't quite glove it. Sinclair. Hill going backwards. Probably could have rushed it and got away with it. Heads to Steele. And 50. He pointed to the feet of Blakey, looked at the umpire, and the umpire agreed. So, who does he want with this kick? He's got the wide ball to Hill. Long. Hanbury. His final AFL game to Membry, who takes the mark.
He's been good, Hanbury. Really composed with the ball. We've had a lot of discussion about how messy St Kilda have been with ball in hand. Dan Hanbury's been one of those players that has had really good composure.
I totally understand why they've made the decision for him to retire, but he has shown that he's still got a lot to offer.
Yeah,
so
class.
It's a shame, isn't it, really?
Membry has been a sharpshooter over time. That's the spot, all grounds. It's across the face. King waiting for it, a few against him, and Hickey, I think off the knuckles and the forward, got it through eventually, a behind.
Yeah, I think even the stuff with Dan Hanbury, what people wouldn't notice, he's probably one of the best communicators that I've ever played against. It was unbelievable in terms of aerobic capacity and ability to get the ball, but very, very good communicator.
Premiership player in 2012 and in 2 losing grand finals.
Yours touched. Player.
Disrupted kick from Fox, just smashed back in by Hill. Membry trying to work out what to do next. Didn't have much time or space to collect his thoughts.
He's actually a very good finals player too.
Could have easily have won Norm Smith medal.
Yeah, absolutely. Good defensive runner as well.
Ruffy certainly made him earn one of them.
Didn't he?
21 points the margin here. What a game at the MCG. Are we headed for a thrilling finish here as well? Warner, Reid, towering, Franklin. Heaney's pacing back to goal, and so is Haywood, waiting for the ball, which is going to arrive. It's just a question of when. It's coming off the boot of Goulden. Sam Reid drifts back to the goal square. Evan Errol can't kick it that far.
Interference with the arms. St Kilda.
Chop of the arm.
Stand.
Patton's footy.
It's where you love to see St Kilda switch the ball and run, try and break up that Sydney defence.
Hill takes the mark, and then far from a perfect kick. Reid, Wilkie, barely to Long. Hanbury again, had to kick it over the Swan in Fox, perfectly for Butler, who just couldn't get onto it. Fox back for Rampy.
Yeah.
Took all his effort and might to get the hand pass off there, and he runs to receive from Lloyd, and King with a lunge, a shove in the back, unfortunately.
Got to tackle him there.
Yeah, you think he was close enough to tackle. Yeah.
Stand.
Well, he might have hurt himself, King, and all of that.
Play on. Yours.
Hickey. Fox.
Both teams just trying to build up through uncontested mark. Then when they get forward of centre, they'll pull the trigger, but at the moment, just conservative.
15, play on.
Fox off to McCartan, Tom. Parker.
To Mark.
Mark,
And the mark was paid belatedly to Ben Long. Had a good day. His 19th disposal coming up. So far hasn't made a mistake by foot.
Howard tried to get Heaney to jump. Heaney was wise to it. Long. Hayward backs off the mark, gets out wide. Clark and Sinclair front on contact, surely. Sinclair free. Spears it. Membry.
Stand. Stand.
This precision ball use. Down the line. Heads wide. Marshall's got 2 to beat. He was wrapped up illegally, so Marshall free kick.
Stand. Play on.
He's got King screaming for it inside 50. He's ignored. Longer. Campbell goes with the fist. Owens to Crumb. And ran into a jam. Ball in.
He did well there, McInerney, to get back as the winger and to be really outmatched. But bring the ball to ground, not let Campbell mark the ball.
That's how the points and percentage stand at the moment. A goalless third quarter through 6 minutes. Great smother from Campbell.
And certainly guaranteed John Longmire wouldn't have brought it up at half-time. They'd be just focusing on getting the win. So, of course, if they do lose, they drop out of the top 4.
Campbell tried to wrestle it away, had 2 goes at it, row bottom. Reid versus Long. Cleverly done from Wicks. Now McInerney. Heaney versus Hill. Hill's got the pace to stop him, and then the fumble might work to his advantage. Kent came on the scene, and Buddy Franklin falls beautifully into the mark, 25 metres out.
It's a challenge for St Kilda's defenders. They get sucked up high up the ground. This is what Sydney's forwards do. Heaney's one of them. Suck their defenders high up the field, and then they just jump out the back, and they're off to the races. There's just so much space there. How many times we've seen Heaney do this? Just feel like they just need 1 or 2 defenders to hold. Don't go too far past the centre line.
Another 50-goal season beckons for Lance Franklin. Even the greats could miss from close range. Just an unease at the moment here at Marvel Stadium. It sits somewhere in between.
Sinclair has a bounce and thumps it. He's got Steele in his sights. Steele looks up, wants to go quickly. Kent, game 100, his final game as an AFL player, has come on as the sub and finds Windhager inside 50.
It was a good run by Windhager. When Clark got the ball in the open, Steele, sorry, got the ball on the open side, he probably could have come back inside to Windhager, but he just continued on with his run. Great kick by Kent.
15 gone.
Now, Rising Star nomination last week, one of their young guns, 19 years of age. Did miss a critical goal in the last quarter early last week. Steps inside the arc. Has he got enough on it? Just scrapes it home.
Well, this just could be that score that builds that momentum. They've done a lot right in this game. They've transitioned the ball really well, and even on this occasion, Sinclair out of full back, took his full measure.
This is their MO, Geordie. They do like to use the boundary. So they don't like to come back in too early. This is one of the ones they worked. At times you think, geez, they need to come in earlier, but they're obviously able to make the right decision when to come in board. That's a beautiful kick.
Yeah, I think if you try and be aggressive centre back, it just really opens up that opportunity for the Sydney Swans to go straight back inside their forward 50. Yes, you can have a little bit more risk centre forward when you've got that defensive stability already set up.
So it's back to 16. Saints close enough to threaten. Swans will start to feel this as the game goes on. Collision at half forward. Both had eyes for the footy. There's a shove, and it's Rampy's ball. Experienced Swan. Played in the 2014 and 2016 grand finals. Oh, lovely fly from Hayward. Threatened in the air. Stevens kept it alive. Hayward maybe got a little clip. What a season. How heartbreaking is football.
Sorry, Rowan and Tom.
Carlton fans would have every excuse not to be watching now after missing out. But everyone else still glued to see who is going to make it and where in that top four. Sinclair, Gordon, Sinclair pleading for a free. Butler copped it next.
It's cruel when you think it was only Carlton only 0.5% behind the Western Bulldogs, Hunter.
Yeah.
So you just think of all those missed goals, missed opportunities throughout the year.
Holding the man, Sydney. Hold. Straight back then. Time back on, stand.
Hickey. But he politely asked for it down the line about 60 metres. That's where it's going. McDonald had first play on it. Hill. Gobbled up. Didn't take the first option, as slight as it might have been. And it could cost them with Warner going back, and we know that he is within range.
That's your line. Stand there, Brad. Yeah, thanks.
Kicked the spectacular goal early.
He needs to be on the run, Hunter. He needs to go further back. Run at full speed.
Yeah, up and down, thanks.
16 goals, 21 coming in today, and you're right. The Chad into the pocket, almost a juggler for McDonald. Oh, Hickey's hands were terrific, and he picked the perfect person to deliver it to. Isaac Heaney goals.
It's just too easy, though. So Isaac Heaney, one of the most dangerous forwards in the competition, just allowed to stand on his own at the top of the goal square.
Well, you've got a ruckman, you've got a key defender. From a St Kilda point of view, that ball just has to go 20 rows back, doesn't it? So you get the run up, you get it right, you don't get involved in the congestion. So you see there, Marshall's already coming from the wrong position and just gets lost in that congestion. Wilkie hanging off, no body contact. Yeah, the good sides with a high attention to detail. That ball is 10 rows back through the points, and you just eliminate all those other options that can pop up.
Second place finish still alive for the Swans. This is the final game of the season for the Saints. Wouldn't think they'd leave anything in the tank in this last quarter and a half. Hickey blasts it free. Lean it, edged out of it. Franklin, Wilkie, caught by the ears, dragged down. No free, not high. If you have just joined us, the Dogs have made the finals. Carlton have missed out. Flung in the air. Hickey, Marshall, Mills feeds it out into some space. Stevens gets there. Looks around to see what's on offer. Central kick. Franklin edged out of it. Franklin gets it anyway. Now he's caught. Manhandled. Was that a kick? Umpire says holding the ball. Didn't touch his toe. Free kick. Saints, half back. Butler.
Marshall makes the call, but there's 4 Swans in his vicinity. Fox had time for a look in the rearview mirror, and then he handballs straight to Wanganeen-Milera. Coughed it straight up. 22 points. Swans have got to get going pretty soon if they're going to challenge for that top two. As we said, they want to win the game first and foremost. That's the primary goal for John Longmire. They've already beaten Melbourne this year at the MCG, so if they do finish third, they'll have that up their sleeve. Hickey with a tap. Clark with a bit more. Hanbury another possession. Blakey doing the discipline thing. Locks it away.
It's never an easy kick against Sydney, is there? The pressure is very good, especially from these congested situations.
Ross got it out. Butler was moving, decided not to take possession, and he'll get a free because of that choice. Florent grasping on. Oh, terrible kick. Gave Hayward an easy ride. He doesn't get carried away in the moment. Franklin's gone back to goal. One more kick at least required. It'll come from McDonald. He demands it now, buddy. It's one-on-one with Wilkie. And he's still not convinced, Logan McDonald.
I reckon Bud had to lead a little bit earlier. Especially those high balls. Wilkie's done a really good job on maintaining body contact.
Hickey working overtime deep. Gave a real solid option in the pocket. Steady heads to full forward. Franklin was swamped and he might get a free kick in front of goal.
Let it go.
So Franklin
There. Gents, I need you right out, please.
from point-blank range, and for the 13th time, he kicks 50 goals in a season.
Yeah, it was off a turnover two at half-back where Hayward, you could just see that he was waiting for that ball to be kicked inside. They've been expecting it because that's exactly where St Kilda have tried to bring the ball. So you can see there just the contest. There's a few there leaning at the back. Just panicked and then held Wilkie in the end. Not too sure why Bud was going back to Howard. He wasn't really in the vicinity, but
Reid to do the ruck work again against Campbell. Good bounce. Ross, little knock on, got it to Hanbury, gets the clearance for the Saints. Bounce at a half forward, Kleinbold, King. Stevens wrapped up.
Thank you. Excellent. Sam, Tom.
Flung in the air. Campbell got a big piece of it. Down to Stevens though. Hammers it in long. Nice little climb. A hover and the grab. Wanganeen-Milera had the long option, but didn't want to bite off more than it could chew. Membry, Patton.
Stand.
King has 4 if you've just joined us. He's lurking in the forward pocket. They don't launch long to him. Wanganeen-Milera. Ross.
will do well to find a target inside the forward 50.
Took too long after that long mark to go back at Sydney. Just not challenging their defence enough.
King's got company in the air. McCartan doing what he does so well. Florent flings it out. Ross in front, worked under the ball cleverly by Hayward. Ross, nice spin from Jones. Took the extra step and turned it over. And suddenly, well, not for long, the Swans moving forward. Saints into reverse across the ground. Lean it to Hill. Instructions issued. It was pass over to Steele, but takes out the middleman and drives instead down to Higgins. King's worked his way top of screen into that left forward pocket. Higgins some more central kick. Asks Owens to jump up. Butler to the top of the square. Heaney composed. McInerney eyes off McDonald on the wing. Franklin's galloping somewhere through the middle of the ground, but McDonald didn't take the mark under pressure from Howard. Lean it. Jones. Jones gets onto the footy. Grabbed by Hanbury. Spotted Ross in the clear. Back through the middle to Steele. All ahead of him. So was Warner. A second chance. Windhager. Now Lean it. King is the target. Very busy intersection. No one stayed on their feet. McCartan led to it by Owens. He did well to hassle him though, McCartan, and then Luke Parker came on the scene and everything changed. There's a swan down.
I think it's Blakey, yeah, he was in the middle of the pack.
Someone was going to get hurt. It's a big pack, a big hit.
So Papley's already off.
See a little bit of blood on his head. So
they wouldn't want to lose Papley and Blakey for a first final if that first final is early in that first week of the finals. In the meantime, Campbell has an arm chop free coming his way.
There'll be some lobbying getting done by the Sydney Swans. Dwayne.
Have the first final on a Sunday rather than a Thursday night. Although Blakey's come off under his own steam, that's a good sign, even though that's not looking good for him to come on in a hurry. Howard. Wilkie. Patton. Again, they're holding possession. Not giving the Swans what they want. Jones. Howard. He's got Leonard if he wants him. At the moment, he doesn't want him. Now he does.
Yeah, I still think at some point you've got to take the ball forward and attack. It's okay possessing the ball in the back half, but you've got to be dangerous, whether that's through handball receives.
85 marks now, Louis.
Yeah.
Ross.
They've taken Blakey downstairs, guys, probably just the protocol, just to make sure that he's okay and go through the test, the procedure.
Thanks, Eddie. Now, Stevens. Had to be perfect. It was good enough for Franklin. From just outside the arc. Try to work it back for McDonald. Saints predicted that pattern. Ross kept them guessing enough. Leonard. Also in no hurry, and Howard takes the mark, but he right over the mark.
Play on. Yours.
To the wing. Mills going to send it straight back.
It's almost death by 1,000 cuts if the Saints continue to play this style.
Slowed down in the second half. Dwayne, I felt like they were better when they were actually more attacking and moving the ball in the front first half.
Mills heads long. Franklin in the middle of that. McDonald got a hand out. Clark rolled it through the traffic. Heaney. Wilkie clever. Had the boundary line as his friend. You see that percentage difference between second and third. That's what's on offer for the Swans. Have to get the win, though. And then win by enough to grab second spot and get a home final first week at the SCG rather than away final against Melbourne at the MCG. Kicked off the deck by Heaney. Got enough on it, but it went the wrong side of the post for his liking behind.
I just feel like the Saints have been spooked by the first half, Louis, where they were more attacking. They were willing to go into the centre, but they just made some errors. And Sydney were able to go back and score, but they've been reluctant to move the ball with that same pace in this third quarter. A lot of uncontested marks.
Ross.
A 15, play on.
Oh. That's a fairly sizable, not 15. Back out to the wing, Wilkie. Crowded out there and a few bodies left behind all of that. Kick in hope more than anything, rounded up. Florent had 2 to aim for. Stevens hangs on.
Stand.
At some point, one side's got to change the angle. A lot of the players been on this side of the ground, so clearly there's congestion.
Now played 9 games in a row for the Swans. Dylan Stevens, half forward. Plenty of hands on that one. It fell for Park at row bottom. Quick, Warner, everything's express. Franklin denied by Wilkie.
This might give Saints a chance to go to the open side, run. A little bit of run and carry. Absolutely.
Yeah, good go-to man for the run. Hill, Owens. Hill wants it back, but he's shut down. Owens to his mate Windhager, about to be caught. Wawelbun. Owens, he does pounce. Opens it up. Steele feeds it on. Higgins, the drop step was good. Hands it wide. Could have gone for home. Membry doesn't want the shot. Wanganeen-Milera, he wants it and can't nail it.
Sums up their second half. Just don't want to go forward. St Kilda. Marshall's on his own in the goal square. Just a handball to him.
They take themselves wide. I mean, there were so many opportunities to keep going forward, stay in the corridor, be ultra aggressive with the way they move the ball.
I feel like their eyes go sideways first.
Yep.
Not forward.
The frustrations of being a St Kilda supporter. Lloyd into the back pocket, marked by Rampy. Can they mount a charge in the final term? Either way. Either for second spot or in St Kilda's case for the win. Stevens to Franklin. Pretty open up ahead for Buddy. Gave it quickly to Florent. Hayward will lead one way. Ball pitches for him, has a look, and beautifully delivered for Heaney.
That's what they haven't been able to do. Heaney just asking how long left on the clock.
2 more metres.
The class gap is apparent.
1 more, that's it, that's it. Marks out.
It comes at the moment
15 gone.
in the form of 28 points. It's now 29.
All clear.
Just gives you an idea on how important that handball receive. He's off half-back, just breaks open the play. Then you go into an open forward line.
And the little things becoming big things now for Sydney with that percentage gap. A bomb straight down the middle. Hickey flew from 4 deep. Whose ball? McCartan. There was a McCartan sandwich in there. Umpire had to point out which one. It's Paddy.
Stand, come on.
But more of that, Dwayne. If that free kick wasn't given, Max King had the ball and was away.
He drives it long. Hickey gets down. Can't mark it. Heaney does. Probably feels he owes his team one. Hands it to Clark. Blasted across the face. Has he marked that in the field of play? McDonald? No. Saints ball back pocket.
Stand, stand, stand.
John Longmire mentioned the percentage at three-quarter time, Louis.
Play on.
I don't think so. No.
It's too close.
It shouldn't be the motivation.
Patton. Kent. Warner found a way through. McInerney a fumble. Sinclair. There is a path forward. Campbell. Urgency needed. And the mark taken. Well, the siren. No, Higgins got it through. Just in the nick of time. And there's still hope for the Saints. And that's a critical goal as far as the Swans are concerned. When you're in a percentage battle, the first thing you've got to do is stop the other mob scoring goals and then build and build and build, and the task just got tougher. The top 4 is not yet assured for John Longmire. He will not be happy with that last goal in the manner it came. But at the moment, the Swans have a 23-point lead. They'll need a big last term if they want to host a qualifying final in the first week of the finals after a sensational home and away season, which goes down to the very last term.
To be seen is where the Sydney Swans can finish. Will it be second? Will it be third? They've got to get that 4 points first to make sure they don't drop out.
They do, Sarah, so that's the thing that's first and foremost. We're getting the 4 points, getting the double chance. If they go hunting for a home final, if they can restrict St Kilda to 2 goals and kick 7 themselves, that will be enough. So I wonder who in the Swans hierarchy has the calculators. The 4 points, here's the first prize. Hanbury, in his last quarter of football, sends Sinclair on his way to half forward. Membry kept it alive. Rampy waiting through. Used McCartan. And now they're able to come away via Fox. Jones put his fist into it. 3 Swans in close attendance, and happy to work it over is Ollie Florent. So there's 2 Saints done for the day. Josh Battle also with concussion, and Hunter Clark would look to be another hamstring injury. We've already seen Dean Kennedy's 100th from last game as the activated sub. Handballs are chained up. Florent. Buddy versus Wilkie. Been a great battle. Buddy got it. Jones was there to add some extra pressure. Heaney, you can't drop a mark around him. We've learnt that today. And lean it. It's a lesson learned well.
Held his nerve. Been under a lot of pressure taking that mark. Heaney had a great third quarter.
Hill
Stand.
decides not to go this time.
No,
Waits. Thinks about going backwards. Looks up. He's got runners on the wing. Long. He floats it wide to Membry. Again, it's precision ball use from the Saints. And Melbourne barracking for the Saints, like the Dogs were barracking for Collingwood earlier today.
Stand.
At the moment, it'll be Melbourne hosting the Swans. If the Swans don't win this by a big margin. Ball straight to Goulden through hands, though. He back towards Wicks.
Oh.
Shut down by Long. Too high. And it's on.
Okay. Have you been reported?
He's been reported.
He's been reported. He's been reported, right?
That was a big collision.
He's been reported.
Wait up, I'm through.
Thanks, mate.
He's okay. That's the good news.
Yeah, brave by Wicks to go back with the flight of the ball.
Long made contact to the footy.
Why would you make a report there? Two players going for the ball.
Ball leaks out the back. Sinclair on guard. Back through the middle. Thrashed it. Ball could go anywhere. Butler read it well. Flings it to the outside. Wanganeen-Milera puts a move or two on. Has a bounce. Eyes up. Steele takes another mark inside 50. As King drifts down to the square. Marshall's there as well. Bit of tall timber. If he doesn't think he can go the journey here, Jack Steele. Not a big goal kicker, 4 goals, 5 for the season.
Been part of their problem, Hutto. They don't get enough goals from their midfielders. We know Gresham and certainly Gresham hasn't been there. Billings hasn't been there, but they need more going into 2023 from their midfielders.
Steele improves the angle slightly. It was enough. Terrific goal from Jack Steele, and that will add to the anxiety for Sydney fans, and of course Fremantle fans are barracking hard as well for the Saints to see if they can jump up.
Well, they took the ball forward, Brownie. So what we've been talking about all game, quite often the St Kilda players have taken the ball sideways, yet on this occasion they took the ball forward, found a spare player inside the forward 50. Great finish.
I'm glad they've gone back to playing that way. So the first half, there wasn't much difference between the two teams apart from the execution, and 2 or 3 of those turnovers, just unforced turnovers. Ones you can easily fix up, but they went into the shell, St Kilda, in that third quarter. They just didn't want to move the ball forward.
It's getting dangerous now for the Swans. Saints are 3 goals from the lead. They kicked the last 2 goals of this game. Lloyd heads toward half forward. Heaney and Leonard. Heaney played on when he probably didn't need to. Warner tries to high fend off. Great attack. Lloyd one way, Ross the other. Warner's blasted that, and he has kicked. Behind.
Hit the inside of the post, I think.
Wow.
How about the power? Gosh.
How was that not a free kick, though? The high fend, the elbow to the throat.
Sinclair wandering back. Wasn't a great kick. Left Marshall vulnerable. Florin almost hit the target instead. He was smothered. And a chance to go St Kilda's way. Wicks feeding it through to Parker. And now Reid wrong-sided.
Score review, score review.
Straight away score review, and Leonard's confident he touched it.
I mean, the umpire's right there, so you think he would have had
touch before the line.
a really good spot to look at it, so you love them just to make the call and back himself in.
Review underway.
Clear touch, the umpire's there, he saw it, he called it a point.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball is touched before crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
So the goal player's playing hide and seek there behind the post. And confirmation it's touched. And as we know, every goal counts in terms of percentage for the Sydney Swans and their ambition to host that qualifying final. They've got to surpass Melbourne in percentage, but right now they're vulnerable for the 4 points.
Absolutely. That's a great grab. Campbell plays on to Hanbury. He won't leave anything in the tank. It's his last game. Mills got there. Swiped it to Goulden. Got a wide kick. How will the umpire see this? Sufficient intent. insufficient intent.
Yeah, and that's the other side. If you're St Kilda and you're going quick, you unsettle the defence of Sydney, so they don't know where to go. Once they get the ball in hand, they panic.
Ross.
They have to keep challenging them.
Move it on, play on.
19 points to margin. Heads to the pocket and turns it over.
Well, it's a poor option, it's a poor kick. Even if you mark that from a St Kilda point of view, it's a tough shot.
Goulden, normally a good ball user, doesn't bite off the difficult kick, goes for distance and long, pulls another one down. All the way back to Howard. They are inspired right now, the Saints. Beliefs high, lean it, caught though, against the grain here. The Swans could get one. Heaney looks around, chips it to Wicks, just the required.
Why go back?
Yeah.
And he's turned it over. And a free kick, long, high, half-back flank, Saints ball.
Yeah, Wicks just needs to settle himself there. He should have had players and leaders around him just to take his time. But you're right, from the long mark, you automatically give up 40 metres, kicking it backwards. Keep taking them on, keep trying to come through the middle of the ground.
Bogged down at half-back for now, Wilkie. Parker in front, King, Rampy, Fox. Almost got through. Florent. Lloyd didn't want to take the kick. Goulden does. Reid, Heaney's behind long and he can't stop him. What a game he's played. 26 disposals and reported for Ben Long. Steele. There's a limp behind for Isaac Heaney. I think he's okay, but
move it on, play
he's had
on.
16 marks too long.
Oh, King tumbled. Membry, he couldn't hang on. McCartan. Steele. It's coming back in.
Yeah, but they need to change the angle, so they've had a couple of occasions where they've gone straight back in to try and, as much as you can, bring it to the open side.
Stay tucked away. That City half-forward flank. Wanganeen-Milera. Campbell's in the square. King, the spearhead, is just there in the pocket, missed by quite a margin.
And guys, Nick Blakey has come back on. He's sitting on the bench now, so he's looking pretty good. Look like he can come back on.
Thanks, Ed.
So Papley's been subbed out. Blakey back from the rooms, but not back on the field just yet. Hickey edged out by Campbell.
Stand pumped.
And again, he goes back to go forward. Bizarre. Jones. Just the required to Long, who blasts it long. Stevens rolled in the tackle by Hill.
Big focus area over the pre-season for St Kilda is fixing their ball movement up. It's been a problem the second half of the year. It was strong at 8-3.
Just a big three to have on the bench. Heaney, Blakey, Papley at the moment. From the scramble, ball knocked down. Fed out wide, Kent. Handball away just in time. Marshall, Florent cuts it off. Got past Kent, bumped, got a little one to the ear, but the umpire said keep rolling, boys. Jones, the fake, then he's caught and not holding the ball, out of play.
Umpire said he handballed it.
Whistle's been put away.
Tom.
Hasn't been registered on the stat sheet as a handball.
The umpire says you've handballed it.
Surely that
it?
counts.
Yep.
They'll get it in the review, maybe. The ball thumped to half forward. McDonald was a target at least, not likely to take the mark with so much opposition around. Clark pokes it wide. Franklin one-on-one with Wilkie. No defender has ever liked that situation, but it's not getting there yet.
I think McInerney just came on the ground.
Yep.
He caught Hanbury on the hop. Hanbury was waiting for his rotation. It was about 5 metres behind.
McInerney tries to get the weighting right. McDonald just came forward a little too far. Franklin still dangerous. Lean it. McDonald around the corner. Doesn't score.
They'll be seeing his day, Brownie. Logan McDonald.
Oh, look, he hasn't had big numbers, but he competes. He moves well. 11 disposals, 2 goals. So, you know, I think for a young forward, they're reasonable numbers. The main thing is he's getting to contest.
Isaac Heaney about to get the boots back on, hopefully to return. Rowbottom slipped in to take the intercept mark. McInerney demanding it back on this side of the ground, but instead he heads to the square. Hayward versus Jones. Hayward stayed on his feet. Hanbury put the tackle, despite the fact that the head was down and a little vulnerable, he did it well. And the ball goes over and out in the forward pocket. So if the Swans want a home final, they've got to get a move on. Right now, I think all they're worried about is hanging on for the points.
Get the victory, yes.
Back into play, Hickey, Campbell, lean it, traps it, looks up. It's got King, it's a 1-on-2, and the big fist of Tom McCartan kills it to the boundary. 11 minutes and 44 seconds left in the season.
Sydney run, Tom.
Game 198 of 198. In a wild final day. The Dogs have made the finals, the Blues have missed out. Melbourne waiting to see the result of this. Fremantle waiting to see the result of this. To the wing, King, a little slap down. Blakey back on, behind his back. Warner tries to get away. Wicks, Florent, ran into Jones. Zig, but he should have zagged. Umpires put the whistle away again. Sinclair, that's a kick. Rampy, Hill, Owens, Hill falls over his own feet. Up against the boundary, Parker looks up, wobbles one, it's a half-torp, and Hayward read it to perfection.
Decides to play it through the middle despite the high-risk play that it was. Hanbury cleverly to Kent, maybe took a step too many, but King will mark anyway. Oh, it's a big kick for Max.
Great kick by Kent. Hanbury's played well as well. 27 disposals he's had, 6 clearances in his last game, 6 inside 50s.
You just wonder whether another team would think about it as a whether he'd want to or not with the...
Yeah, well, I guess it maybe depends how the off-season goes. Yeah, he weren't maybe well and truly written off playing again, but who knows as his body starts to freshen up over the off-season.
None of you blokes ever want to retire, Brownie. Rui still thinks he can play. Max King wearing that number 12 Guernsey to make the end of this game harder to watch for the Swans fans. The drama continues. 5 goals straight for Max King. Last week he cooked North goals 5.
Let's turn that around.
Well, it's a dangerous margin because right now you've got a St Kilda side who have all the momentum.
And they're having a crack.
Yep.
They're just playing with a freedom, aren't they? They're not worried about, obviously, they've got nothing hinges on the result for them. So why not have a crack in your last 15 minutes of football for the season?
Sydney just haven't been able to move the ball, have they? They've set up really well defensively and just given themselves opportunities going inside forward 50. It was a great kick by Dean Kent.
Goals per season, best season he's had, Max King. He might be kicking at less than 50% this year, but over the 50. Umpire lets that roll. It landed outside the circle, but it was contested. Hanbury scrambles it long. Membry, and they are coming, the Saints. The Saints are coming off an 8-day break.
We've seen momentum this year, Dwayne, haven't we? Just the momentum swing, so you've got to be very careful here, Sydney.
Saints coming off an 8-day break. They played Friday night last week in that loss to the Lions. Swans played last Sunday. Swans are without Tom Papley. He's been subbed out. They can fall out of the top 4 if they lose this. And Membry has everyone on the edge of their seat. He slots it. And the belief is high.
Well, this is where the new setup in terms of the 6-6-6 you can really take advantage of, because right now St Kilda are absolutely smashing them in the centre bounce. 15-4 in favour of St Kilda out of the centre bounce, so automatically they're getting that territory straight away inside their forward 50. So it's been a clinic in there. Hanbury getting involved again. He's had a really good game. But this is all St Kilda momentum.
So Melbourne will finish second on the ladder, barring an absolute miracle. The only final that's confirmed is Brisbane and Richmond, 6th versus 7th. The Swans could slip out of the top 4. They'd be replaced by Fremantle. So Dockers fans are barracking hard for the Saints. Florent sends it wide to half forward. Lean it. Tough bounce. Draws a free. Everything's going St Kilda's way for the moment. They've kicked the last 4 goals.
So this is where it needs a change of mindset. We asked St Kilda to be ultra aggressive with ball in hand. Now they've got themselves back into a position where they're in striking distance.
So you're just a bit more careful.
So you can be a little bit more careful, a little bit safer with ball.
Rowbottom just eluded the tackle. Warner straight ahead to Franklin. Howard, unflustered, takes the mark for the Saints, gives it to Wilkie. And they do play a controlled version here, but they need to keep it moving. They know that. Patton, long. Put it back in danger. Heaney kicked it quickly without really thinking. It still could come good. Hayward good enough to get through. So is McInerney. But his kick is just astray. It's a behind. They all count, but at the moment,
I'd keep the game moving fast. Well, St Kilda. Sydney are desperate to slow the game down, to try and get some control into it. They look like they're running out of gas. St Kilda, I'd be reluctant to send the message to slow down. I feel like they play their better football when the, when the gasometer, the revometer.
I don't think you need to slow down. Certainly, there still needs to be pace in it, but less risk.
Well, galloping gasometer.
Mickey Nolan.
Yep, stand.
McInerney.
Play on.
Franklin wants it short.
Yours.
It's out in front of him. Tried with the one-hander. Gets it back. Wobbler. And the goalkeeper's got it. Leonard.
Stand.
Out wide. The run from Wilkie. Suddenly it feels like there's 40,000 in here. Saints fans have found voice.
2 metres back.
Higgins. They can finish this season strong. Finish it off with a victory. Big fist. Tom McCartan climbed high. Stevens back pedals across the boundary, and the umpire cuts him some slack. So 8 points the margin. Swans at the moment cannot finish in second spot. Melbourne look to have that sewn up, but they can drop out of the top 4 with a loss.
They were 29 points in front at one stage, and now they are just 8 points ahead. 7.5 minutes remaining. Giving it everything. Stevens got collected high by an over-exuberant Dan Hanbury in his last minutes. The former Swans champ. Dylan Stevens trying to carve out his career on the wing for the Swans. Heads to half forward. Heads to McDonald, got both hands to it. In a rush, Rowbottom. Franklin was fossicking for it. Now it's Marshall's turn. Fluky ball could have gone anywhere. Sinclair, Leanit's had a big day. Kicks to the grass on the wing. Tough, cruel bounce for Kent. It bounces back. The Lizard's back out there. He slinks through half forward. Gives it to Hayward. Can he get enough on it? He wills it. Wills it. Touched. Howard's way was touching it on the line.
Believe his goal and make sure.
Oh, no.
He's missed it with his fist.
Umpire scores a goal.
Review underway.
No, there's a definite gap. I think Howard was trying to bluff the umpire.
Once and for all, you can never believe a defender.
He's missed it by half a metre. Great kick by Hayward. I thought he was too far out, but it was the work that was done on the line. It's only a matter of time before this one's called a goal.
Review complete. Looking at these angles, we can see there's a gap between the player and the ball at all times. This is on the scoreboard.
Yeah, good work by Logan McDonald on the line. Doing enough to not let Howard touch the ball, but certainly not giving away a free kick, more importantly.
Confirmation. And the Swans lead by 14. They're not safe yet, but that helps.
Geez, they got a good bounce, didn't they? Dean Kent was...
Shocker.
There's the bounce there. straight over his head to the two Sydney players, and then Blakey, really smart play not to blaze away, just draw the St Kilda player in.
It was good though. Good work by McDonald just to compete against Howard. Did enough for Howard to miss that ball.
Howard might not know that there's a video review system and he can get caught out.
The goal umpire was spot on. Is there one last twist in this wild and wonderful AFL season left in the last 6 minutes and 40 of the home and away season? From the knockdown, Windhager breaks free. Owens blasts it long. It won't make its way to King. Marshall fights on, gets it. Membry breaks away, goes with a banana, but it doesn't bend across the face. Kent, Stevens, boundary line, ball in. 6 minutes left.
Yeah, Sydney's pressure's been good, so Membry could have just ran in and kicked a drop punt, directed goals, didn't need to go. Yep.
6 minutes only remaining in the season for St Kilda. Hickey over the top. Warner. Lloyd couldn't get through. Higgins could have been penalised and wasn't. Fly put his head down.
Yeah, so St Kilda right now will get opportunities because what Sydney have done is they've sent numbers inside their forward 50. So there's more Sydney players around the ball. Even though if they win it, St Kilda have got a good chance to rebound.
Steele somehow got it to Owens. Off the left boot. Mills couldn't take the mark. They're still vulnerable here. Higgins pounced and then was pounced upon. Ross! Not to be. Back to 13. Dan Hanbury maybe one last rest and then released for his last minutes as an AFL footballer.
Well, dangerous kick in. Turnover. Butler, can he get the bounce? Did Rampy get a touch on it, or did it clear his hand? Big call this.
Not too sure what Rampy's saying.
Grab the ball.
We're trying to make this season go as long as humanly possible. Let's have 4 goal reviews in the last 6 minutes. Keep the drama going, Brownie.
Absolutely, Hutto. That's definitely not touched off the boot. And Rampy's trying to sell it as well as Dougal Howard sold it down the other end.
Well, a man who can climb a goalpost, he can do just about anything.
Review complete.
That's a
Looking
goal.
at this angle, we can see there's a gap between the ball and the players at all times. Decision on the scoreboard.
Sydney haven't made many unforced errors coming out of defence. That one was. The pressure has been sensational. St Kilda in this last quarter, they're really coming hard.
Well, they've got to get their stars in and around the ball. I mean, 16-5 centre bounce clearances in favour of St Kilda. Gee. Well, that's just giving St Kilda more chances, but it was a dangerous kick in.
Butler and Higgins both on the bench for St Kilda.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want speed in the forward line. You'd want those players who can create something out of nothing back on the ground.
Butler's back out there. Oh, no, Ross just ran back out on the ground. So.
Yeah, sometimes you just go against all rotations and just keep those players on.
It's only 5.5 minutes to go in the season.
Yeah, bizarre decision.
Got to get the boy back out there.
Yeah. Full of confidence.
5.5 minutes remaining. Campbell, Hickey, Saints, Swans, Rowbottom, Parker, the old hand, Lloyd, centre half forward. We wait. Hayward, Clark tried to thrash it forward. Heaney couldn't. Reed, Howard knew he had to release it. He went again, a second effort. Stevens went to ground. Hill to Steele, to Hill, to Jones. Slalom through half back. Patton, can they get into the clear? Not yet. Marshall. Now maybe. Kent to Hanbury. Ross has got to play as a small forward. Does he keep it in? He does. Sends it high. Wanganeen-Milera, but Mills, a steady hand. takes the grab. 4.5 remaining now, and the margin is 7.
Gains territory, heads in the Reed direction, edges his man out. Legally, Howard pleads.
Big mark. Just gives him a chance to reset forward of the ball, march down the ground.
Reed's got Franklin down the line, heads in that direction. Franklin and Hickey. Franklin edged under it. Hickey with the big thump. Patton about to pounce. The boundary line beats him. Ball in. The whole season and the placements in the 8 coming down to the last 4 minutes of the home and away year.
Josh Kearney doesn't know what to think. Throw in. Franklin is the deepest forward, as you'd expect. Parker trying desperately, straining every sinew to get there. Please are made.
Mills gone behind the football now, so he's the spare defender, the deepest defender, the goalkeeper, if you will.
Steele off to Hanbury. Broke the Parker tackle. Got some distance on the kick too. McCartan tied up Campbell. Lloyd over the top. We creep along that City wing.
So what they should be doing, if you're St Kilda in this instance, be letting the midfielders know that there's a deep spare. So if you can, either chain out from this stoppage or those little short kicks to be able to surge back onto the footy. They can't go long.
One more goal for Sydney, you'd think would do it. Marshall to tap. Caught well and truly in the crush is Hill.
Certainly not go long straight out of the stoppage. They need to change angles.
Saints manning up, but the ball's going the other way. Franklin from out of position to in position. Loose ball. Hayward found a way through. Now he prays and prays. Hallelujah! Hayward kicks the goal. But might well have ensured Sydney get the double chance. And the opportunity to really press for glory in season 2022. Will Hayward being the star of this final term. He's kicked 3 for the game.
He's an absolute star out of those stoppage. When you've got Heaney there as well, we know Papley's off the ground. They've got some really dangerous small forwards that can come up to the stoppage.
Well, he gave himself an opportunity to be an offensive threat because he saw Jones go. So he didn't want Jones to be that extra defender to be able to allow St Kilda to transition the ball. So he had to put in some hard yards early on, and then the spoil just fell in his lap. And then it was all class to finish that play off.
Saw John Longmire working overtime on the boundary. Letting the players know they're nearly there. They've nearly got top 4 wrapped up. Another goal will seal it. Rowbottom ran into a jam. Umpire to ball it up, but more precious seconds tick down.
You see Seb Ross just telling the St Kilda players to get down into the forward line and equalise. Knowing Sydney's got spares back.
Rowbottom clears it. Reed's in the spot. Franklin with him. Well, not down towards it. Couldn't trap it. Heaney across the face, and it rolls out. And that's a win, really, for Sydney. More seconds tick down. Forward pocket. Ball in. And they lead by 13 with 2:50 left.
They'd have to do a lot wrong from here, the Swans. Deep in attack. Hanbury versus Warner. Time is just about up for Dan Hanbury.
Tom.
Talk to the pain, the emotional, the mental pain of not being able to get out there as much as he would have liked for the Saints as he announced his retirement from football during the week. He's going out against his old team, and he's going out in style. A 30 disposal game for Dan Hanbury. Such a warrior he was. He'll over 200 games for the Swans. A premiership player he'll always be. Rowbottom off the left. 14 points. At least it gives the Saints the football back.
Jones on the end of the kick in. 3 goals, 2 minutes 20. You wouldn't think so, but it's been a wild and wonderful season. Howard. Saints, 2 minutes left in their year. Howard heads out wide. Big spill. Sinclair the crumb. Looks up. Saw Membry. Travel the required. He turns. Blakey goes with a big fist. Missed it completely. McInerney, boundary line. Higgins was stalking it. And we'll get a ball in.
Right, I've got to throw everything at this stoppage now, Louis. Going to hit about 3 St Kilda small forwards on the move here. Go for the miracle play.
Well, Butler's back on. So he'll be in and around the mark.
Campbell and Hickey. Big pack around it. Ball thumped to the front. Higgins hit the belly of the ball and kicked it out on the full. And that's exactly what the Swans are after. Their possession, back pocket, with a top 4 spot almost in their keeping now.
And it's good preparation. Tight game, you've had to really earn it. St Kilda have played well.
So it'll be Geelong and Collingwood, the MCG, Melbourne and Sydney at the MCG. The 2 qualifying finals in week 1. Fremantle against the Western Bulldogs and Brisbane versus Richmond. That's all ahead. Steele into the pocket. King looking for his 6th. Won't get it there. Goulden able to put a little step and a little move on. Swans with possession. Will Hayward being roundly cheered by the Swans fans. Well represented again in Melbourne, as they are so often. In fact, every time they come here to play. The old Bloods fans. High kick to the wing. Reid. Heaney.
Good return from their forwards today. Heaney's kicked 2, Hayward's kicked 3. Franklin and McDonald 2 each. Anytime you walk away with about 10 goals from your forwards, that's a good day.
Bit of late crap from the Fox. Plays it back, he's coming off the ground. Lloyd. The Sydney chant starting to ring out around Marvel Stadium. They had a scare in this final term. But they are going to claim their double chance. Rampy down the line. Franklin cleared a path for Heaney again. It's marking practice now for the Sydney Blonde. Has it on the wing. Looks to the bench, gets reassured that all is well. One last fly. The fist came from Campbell. The siren about to sound on a season like no other. The Swans will be there. They get their double chance. And the best is yet to come in September. The end for a warrior. Dan Hanbury's time is up. And he goes out in style, 30 disposals.
Great numbers, yeah, great career. Mainly for the Sydney Swans, of course. Premiership player there, is a great finals player.
Dean Kent as well.
Worker. There's the ladder. Finals are set now, Hutto.
Former teammates there, Paddy McCartan, 4 seasons with the Saints. Dean Kent, predominantly with Melbourne, of course. The ladder, as you said, Geelong on top will play Collingwood. Melbourne will host Sydney. And then Fremantle versus the Western Bulldogs, who got in on the back of the heartbreak of Carlton at the MCG. Brisbane to beat Richmond at the Gabba. So many tantalising contests are ahead.
Geelong v Collingwood at GMHBA.
Of course.
Yes, it'll be great. Yeah, as I said, heartbreak down with Eddie Betts with Isaac Heaney.
Yeah, guys, I got Isaac Heaney down there, mate. What a finish. They came out, yeah? Oh, what a great finish by you guys.
Mate, they're a good side. When they're let to play their game style, they're bloody good. And we're probably a bit scrappy at times and couldn't quite piece together a few plays, and which cost us in the end. But, I mean, it was a good win in the end, and we finished off strong.
And your body as well, how are you feeling? You had 21 disposals, 2 goals, 2. You're going on the finals. Body feeling okay?
Yeah, body's feeling pretty good. Probably the best it's felt, touch wood, over my whole career. So that felt good, and probably let the emotions get hold of me early in the game, and it was nice to run it out.
And so you know that you finished 3rd. So you're 3rd and 11 now. You got a double chance. It's probably be Melbourne. Well, it is Melbourne at the MCG in 2 weeks' time. The last time you played there in round 12, you beat them by 12 points at the G. The boys will be pretty confident going back to the G?
Definitely. I mean, their performance a few nights ago was pretty impressive. So we know we're going to step our game up to match it with them, but we've got belief within the group and feel like we've had a really strong finish to the year. And like I said, the belief is there, and we'll go and fix up a few things that we sort of messed up in this game. But no, there's a lot of confidence and belief.
Just the last one, Dan Hanbury, it's a fitting end for him. Playing against his old side, he's an absolute superstar of the game. He had 31 disposals, 7 clearances. They couldn't get the win for him, but it's fitting to play against you guys.
Absolutely, he's a superstar in his prime, and even now, like you see how damaging he was and how sharp he is around the footy, and he's just a workhorse, and he's a workhorse off-field too, so be good to have a few beers with him later.
Yeah, good luck for the finals, mate. Take it easy.
Back down to Sarah Jones.
I've got Dan Hanbury with me. Dan, a deep breath, some beautiful moments there with your former Sydney Swans teammates and your former Sydney Swans coach. How fitting is it that you played the side you won a flag with?
Yeah, it's pretty special. Fuck. Sorry. Yeah, put my heart and soul into it. Sydney gave me the opportunity, which I'm so grateful for. The coach and players are fantastic. And St.Kilda gave me the opportunity too. It didn't quite work out for 4 years. I worked my ass off, but it eats me away that I couldn't quite contribute more, but yeah, I left it all out here and so thankful for both clubs.
30 disposals today. You brought your best for your final game. Do you have any petrol left in the tank? We've got Jordan Lewis and Jonathan Brown commentating upstairs. They reckon you could go round again.
I gave it one last crack today. I was cramping everything in the last quarter, so I think I'll enjoy retirement at the moment, but haven't really thought about it. There's so many emotions, it sort of hasn't really sunk in, so yeah. Wait and see.
It's been a long career, but I suppose it goes in the blink of an eye. Rising star, 3-time All-Australian, and that wonderful flag with the Sydney Swans. When you look back at those early years, what will you reflect on the most?
Yeah, it's just gone so quickly. I've spoken to so many people, current teammates, ex-teammates, fitness staff. I think footy's all about meeting the people and the relationships you have. And I've met some special people, and just so thankful and grateful for the staff and players and people at both clubs. We've got some amazing staff and players and fitness guys at St Kilda, and so does Sydney. So just very grateful, and yeah, there's a lot of emotion going on at the moment. So yeah.
Talk to us about the emotion. It's been a rough trot. There's been no secret of the battles you've had with your body here at St Kilda.
Yeah, I mean, I finished that 2018 season fit, played well in the final, so I was pretty optimistic about, you know, making a mark here at St Kilda, and started off well the first few months, but yeah, wasn't able to contribute as much as I'd like, which, you know, is really disappointing. We've worked that backside off the club myself. 2020 was a highlight, that final series, but yeah, unfortunately too little too late, and yeah, I'm still so thankful for both clubs.
Dan, you've had an amazing career. That journey at the Sydney Swans was something we'll remember for a very long time. You were a marvellous player at the very, very top, and I think you're going to enjoy this moment with two clubs very close to your heart.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well spoken there by Dan Hanbury. He's been a great player. No doubt about it. There's Paddy Ryder as well, retiring. Unfortunately, he didn't get the farewell game with that calf injury. He's been a terrific player as well at multiple clubs. Played in him early days as a centre-half back and then progressed into being a sensational ruckman, great tap ruckman. There's the fans paying their respects to Dan Hanbury, especially all the Sydney fans. Terrific finals player, Jordan Lewis. You would have played against him in some big finals.
No, he was unbelievably reliable, and you could see, you know, just how emotionally he got. It's a tough time for any player, but when you've been a player at one club, you have high hopes going to the second club, yet your body just continuously lets you down. And I mean, he's a player that got absolutely everything out of himself, even today, to come here and to have the game that he had shows that he's got a lot of respect for the game, but also he works unbelievably hard. And you're right, you've mentioned it, Sarah's mentioned it, how fitting it is to go out on your last game for the two sides that you've played so much football with. Highly respected from opposition players, certainly players that have played with him.
And nice to finish strong, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Good numbers. 30 disposals, 7 clearances, 6 tackles, 7 inside 50s. There's the chair off for the two boys.
Paddy Ryder, 200 70 for the Bombers, 73 for Port, 38 for the Saints. And Dan Hanbury, 226 games, 208 of them with the Swans, where he won a flag and was a three-time All-Australian, 18 for St Kilda. Two of the greats of the game cheered off in beautiful style here at Marvel Stadium. A lovely moment.